I've been with my boyfriend for 7 years. And that woman chased after him the entire time. The moment I broke up with him, he immediately announced he'd marry her. Overnight. Everyone pitied me, but no one knew their wedding was the culmination of my long-planned revenge. From the first day I dated David, I knew the name Amber. Back then, David and I were on a date when his phone kept ringing. He turned pale seeing the caller ID. "I'm having dinner with my girlfriend. Stop harassing me." David had always been gentle, so this outburst shocked me. I couldn't help wondering who'd called. Was he still tangled up with an ex? Noticing my unease, he rushed to explain. "Sophie, don't misunderstand. She's just this crazy girl who won't take no for an answer. Now that she knows I have a girlfriend, she'll back off." During his sophomore year, David had been assigned as a teaching assistant for freshmen. Amber was one of his students. He couldn't block her outright due to his responsibilities. And she'd exploited that. She'd relentlessly pursued him throughout his TA period. I was stunned. As a woman myself, I'd never have the nerve to harass someone after repeated rejections. But now that David had me, surely she'd show basic decency. Amber wasn't normal. Minutes later, she sent a sugary voice message. "So what if you have a girlfriend? You're not married. Even if you were, people get divorced. I'll wait for you, I'll give you everything unconditionally." David snapped, yelling she had no shame. She giggled, unfazed. Feelings change. People fall out of love. I'll be here. I couldn't fathom her mentality. How many faces did this girl have? Still, I stayed calm. David despised her. That night, David walked me to my dorm. The second he left, a girl materialized. I didn't realize it was Amber at first. On the stairs, she blocked my path, mirroring my every move. "Do you need something?" I demanded. She turned casually. Under dim lights, her plain face became clear, acne dotted with lingering baby fat. Her figure overly rounded like an overstuffed doll. She avoided eye contact, peeking at me timidly. Finally, she blurted, "I've loved David for a year. He'd be mine if not for you. Why steal him? Are you out of your mind?" Her audacity left me speechless. "You're Amber, right?" Her head jerked up, eyes brightening. "He talked about me?" I smiled. "Yeah. He finds you annoying." I walked away. She didn't follow. 4 months. She vanished. David taught weekly in her class. But she stopped attending. He rejoiced, believing he'd escaped his stalker. When I mentioned feeling sorry for Amber to Emily, my best friend, she nearly slapped sense into me. "Why care? She's not your kid." Most girls would have clawed her eyes out for harassing their man. She was right. Arguing with Amber only hurt me. As long as David and I were happy, nothing else mattered. Without Amber's drama, our relationship flourished. We're both from Nanjing, planning to return after graduation, no long-distance worries. Our personalities complement each other perfectly. I truly believed we'd last forever. Just when everything was going my way, that annoying Amber Wilson popped up again. She kept pestering David, this time more shameless than ever. I saw Amber again in the school cafeteria. Her complexion had improved slightly, and she wore a hair clip identical to mine. David was picking cilantro out of my food when she plopped her tray down beside me without the slightest hesitation. Our eyes met across the table, my appetite vanishing instantly while she ate with relish. "What do you want?" David snapped. Amber grinned cheekily. "I want you to break up with her and be with me," she said, pointing at me as casually as discussing the weather. My jaw dropped. What kind of lunatic would proposition someone's boyfriend to his face? I trembled with anger but bit my tongue, painfully aware of the watching crowd. David slammed his fork down. Are you out of your damn mind? Nothing seemed to faze her. She kept eating until we stood to leave. I'm not picky. She called after David. You'd never have to pick cilantro for me. I'll give you everything she does. Better. David ignored her, lacing his fingers through mine as we walked away. Her shout followed us, I like you. I've done nothing wrong. As if I were the unreasonable one. My eyes stung with frustrated tears. And David looked equally drained. To cheer me up, he took me to the new hot pot place near campus. A splurge considering our student budgets. Amber's just crazy, he insisted, feeding me a slice of perfectly cooked beef. Don't let her get to you. I nodded numbly, watching chili oil swirl in the broth. What else could we do? He'd already yelled, reasoned, threatened. The girl was immune. That night at the hotel, David held me like I might vanish. When his hands began wandering, he paused to whisper, "Is this okay?" Before I could respond, his phone lit up with relentless notifications. He glanced at the screen and powered it off with a vicious jab. We lay stiffly afterward, the mood shattered. "I'm already taken," he muttered into the darkness. "Why won't she quit? Should I confront her tomorrow?" His arm tightened around me, worried I'd doubt his loyalty. Truthfully, Amber's plain looks made me more annoyed than threatened, like a persistent mosquito you can't swat. Just resign as TA, I suggested. Block her everywhere. He immediately agreed, kissing my temple. Relief flooded me. Finally, peace. Bzzz. My own phone erupted. I answered sweat-slicked, only to hear Amber's shrill demand, "Are you with David? Where the hell are you? How'd she get my number?" No, I wasn't in the dorm. My mind short-circuited as she screeched. "Accept my video call right now." Rage choked me silent, my entire body vibrating. David felt my clammy skin and froze mid-caress. One look at my face told him everything. He tried to snatch my phone, but I clutched it with all my strength. Amber was insane. I couldn't apply normal logic to her. If she discovered David and I were still together and went berserk, combing through every hotel near campus at midnight, how could either of us ever show our faces again? We were in a committed relationship, yet forced to sneak around like criminals. Trembling with rage, I rasped, "Have you no dignity?" Amber laughed when I responded. I could vividly picture her twisted smirk. "I'll trade you my face for David. Deal?" The absurdity left me speechless. Why would I want her face? Before I could react, she began sobbing hysterically. "Don't get cocky, Sophie," she sneered through tears. "Even if you sleep with him, you're just my test run. Teach him every trick, save me the trouble later." Exhausted, I powered off my phone and immediately tackled David. I needed release or I'd combust. He kept apologizing repeatedly, though he'd done nothing wrong. We collapsed into bed, sleeping through dawn. When I awoke, he'd bought my favorite breakfast pastries. As I ate, David crouched beside me, squeezing my hand solemnly. "Sophie, I'll cherish you forever," he vowed. Giggling, I fed him a bite. Back then, sharing endless meals with my love felt like heaven. My bliss lasted precisely 12 hours. Returning to campus, my advisor summoned me. Someone reported my overnight absence. The woman sighed with palpable disappointment. "Professor Miller always saw potential in you. At your age, girls should value themselves more, not throw." "I'm not throwing myself at anyone. We're dating." But her mind was made up. She ordered me to submit a self-reflection report by evening. 19 years of spotless reputation destroyed overnight. This had Amber written all over it. Grabbing a mop handle, I stormed toward her dorm, ready to beat her senseless. She'd vanished, leaving my fury nowhere to vent. David became more attentive to compensate. When Amber resurfaced weeks later, she'd transformed, slimmer. Glowing skin, eerily composed. Yet her presence still curdled my stomach. Emily pulled me aside urgently. Amber's plotting something huge. That viper won't quit until she poisons your relationship. I shrugged it off. How could David, who adored me, ever choose the girl he despised? Our love story began at freshman orientation. David stood out instantly, pale, lanky, bearing an uncanny resemblance to Young. During icebreaker games, fate seated us together. Before I could process it, David lost the first round. His penalty? Kiss the person beside him. When Ryan shoved David toward me, my hands trembled violently under the table. May I? David whispered, lashes fluttering. Something snapped in my brain. Numbly, I nodded. His features blurred as he leaned in, then warm lips brushed mine. Fireworks. His lips were so soft and slightly cool. I was a goner. I didn't dare look at him. My mind completely blank. We stayed pressed together for what felt like forever, or maybe less than a minute, while I held my breath until I nearly suffocated. He chuckled softly, patting my back like soothing a child to help me breathe again. The room erupted in rowdy cheers, the noise threatening to blow the roof off. David seemed in high spirits, grabbing a beer bottle from the table and downing several gulps. As amber liquid trailed down his Adam's apple toward his collar, I frantically snatched tissues to wipe it. His throat bobbed against my palm, sending tingles up my arm. I jerked my hand back. His smile turned inscrutable, though he clearly enjoyed this. After the mixer, we exchanged numbers. He kept coincidentally appearing wherever I went. 4 days. I agonized over his intentions. Finally sick of guessing, I tested him. There's a joint event between our department and the athletes. Should I go? I studied his face intently. Go, David said calmly. My heart sank. Before I could snap, he added, take me along. With me there, you won't have time for anyone else. Enough beating around the bush. You keep saying things that confuse me. Are you trying to play games? He suddenly laughed, caging me between his arms. I didn't want to rush and scare you off. Didn't want you thinking I'm just after your looks. How fast is too fast? I mumbled, staring at my shoes. Like this. He cupped my face and kissed me. I was swept up. David pulled me against his blazing warmth. My cheeks flushing crimson. Pulse racing. October 15th, 2014 marked our official beginning. David treated me like gold, always keeping hair ties on his wrist in case I lost mine. Sprinting to the infirmary when I stubbed my toe, though the scrape would have healed by the time we arrived. He molded his life around mine. Friends declared us soulmates, joking we'd better marry or face eternal awkwardness. I brazenly vowed, if I don't marry David, consider your wedding invites revoked. Now he's getting married to Amber. I never saw Amber as competition. She seemed ordinary, almost pushy, not David's type. Yet this unthreatening girl stole the man who once adored me. The cracks appeared during New Year's 2020. We'd been living together for 4 years, dating for 6. Without this upheaval, we'd likely be planning our wedding. That evening, David picked me up from work as usual. He was so engrossed in a call that he didn't notice me slip into the passenger seat. Are you insane? He barked into the phone. With the COVID outbreak in Wuhan, stay put. Promise me. Who's that? I asked casually. He startled, then told the caller, reach out if you need anything. I'll help however I can. Before hanging up, Ryan works in Wuhan now. He explained smoothly. Just checking on our old college friends there. We'd both attended university in Wuhan, the city forever etched in our memories. I nodded without suspicion. However, David's behavior remained odd throughout the drive. He kept zoning out at red lights, his eyes vacant. When another driver tried cutting us off, he refused to yield and started cursing, uncharacteristic for someone usually composed. His series of peculiar actions made me uneasy. "Don't tell me one of your ex-girlfriends is in Wuhan?" I teased. "I don't have any ex-girlfriends. Why do you always assume the worst?" He snapped. "Men hate women's intuition because we're often right." I was about to confront him properly when he exploded. "Can you stop picking fights? My job's stressful enough without driving you across town every damn day." His sudden resentment stunned me. Was I becoming a burden? His office sat clear across the city from mine. Yet he'd never complained about adjusting his schedule for me before. "I'll take the subway from now on," I muttered. He drove in stony silence, our first real fight that didn't resolve by bedtime. The pandemic amplified our tensions. During one Cold War, I finally asked, "David, what's really wrong? Just leave me alone." For weeks I tiptoed around his moods until he dropped the bomb. "Sophie, maybe I should volunteer in Wuhan." Tears welled up. "You're not trained for medical work. You'd just endanger yourself." He looked torn when I cried, holding me later as I repeated empty reassurances. "The government's handling this. It'll get better." Our truce held. Nights found him obsessively refreshing pandemic news, shipping supplies to Wuhan. I supported him blindly until April 8, 2020. During lunch break, I accidentally saw his booked train ticket from Nanjing to Wuhan through our shared 12,306 account. My hands shook dialing Ryan in Wuhan. "Is David coming to see you?" Never mentioned it. "Our company folded. I'm relocating to Shanghai today." Why would he? The phone slipped from my grip. Numbness spread through my chest, as if my soul had fled. The sensation was like an invisible hand materializing out of thin air, twisting and crushing my internal organs until my entire body burned with searing pain. When I called David Harper, my mind had never been clearer. I needed answers. "Where are you?" "Home. I told you I might be traveling for work soon. Remember? Can't talk now, packing." So he'd been laying the groundwork for this lie for days. I laughed bitterly before hanging up and calmly returning to our apartment. He looked startled when he saw me. "You're back early?" I stared directly into his eyes. "When have I ever let you pack your own suitcase for business trips?" He rubbed his nose guiltily. "You always take such good care of me, Sophie." Fighting nausea, I meticulously folded his shirts. I needed to know, what kind of person could make him betray me? Betray all our years together? My eyes drifted to his phone abandoned on the bed. "Grab all the masks from the bathroom to take with you," I suggested, needing him gone. He hesitated. "But what if you need them?" "I'll just take one box." This was the David who always put me first. How could this man be cheating? The contradiction made my head spin. The moment he left, I deadbolted the door. We knew each other's patterns too well. Within minutes, I'd bypassed his phone security. His main WeChat showed nothing unusual, but my gut screamed there were secrets. With clinical precision, I accessed his alternate account. There was only one contact, Amber. My blood turned to ice as I scrolled through their 3-year correspondence. They'd started chatting during our 3rd year living together, innocent exchanges at first. Then she began sending videos, swimming laps in a black one-piece, calligraphy brushes tracing suggestive strokes, hip-swaying dance clips always carefully framed to hide her face. "When did you learn this?" David had finally taken the bait last spring. "You like? I'll show you better moves next time," she'd replied, followed by a Cheongsam photo emphasizing every curve. His response, row after row of ellipses, told me everything. Their conversations grew increasingly intimate, even discussing shower routines. "Want to video call?" she'd asked once. David's delayed reply, "Can't you ever behave in the bath? Nobody's here to mind," she'd countered. the digital equivalent of unbuttoning her blouse. I physically recoiled from the screen, nausea rising. These weren't just messages, they were a masterclass in seduction, documenting David's transformation from reluctant participant to willing accomplice over 12 months. Tears came in violent, silent waves that made my scalp tingle. I muffled sobs in the crook of my arm, terrified he might hear before I decided how to confront him. My thoughts swirled, the man who packed emergency menstrual products in his briefcase, who learned sign language to communicate with my deaf niece, who still kissed my forehead every morning. How did he become the man typing "You make me forget every promise I've ever made to another woman"? The screen blurred as fresh tears fell on his locked phone, this digital Pandora's box containing the corpse of our marriage. I don't understand, how could he change his feelings so abruptly? I don't even know what I did wrong. I feel like I'm dying. Yet my heart keeps pounding violently. I lay paralyzed on the bed as if cursed every time I close my eyes. All I see are memories of David and me. We once watched fleeting years together. When Chin-sun fell for someone else. I sobbed hysterically in David's arms. My heart ached for Fong Hui back then, we shared similar personalities. I'm introverted. Not particularly adventurous. And maybe that lack of novelty made him lose interest over time. I told David earnestly, if you ever develop feelings for someone else, just tell me. Don't lie. Even if that day comes. Let's part ways peacefully. He got furious when he heard this. Fong Hui's great. But you're better. You're not Fong Hui. And I'm not Chin-sun. Chin-sun was blind to stray, I'm not. David. You are blind. His frantic knocking continued, he needed to catch his train. I waited half an hour before opening the door. I stared at him wordlessly, panicked by my silence. He gently led me to sit on the bed as he always did, kneeling before me. Sophie. What's wrong? Your eyes are red, are you worried about me? Wuhan's safe now. I'll be home in 3 days. He kissed away my tears, murmuring how much he hated seeing me cry. Who'd believe this tenderness when his phone still held messages from that girl? I shoved him hard. Who's Amber? His face froze. You checked my phone? Releasing my hand, he backed away guiltily. It's nothing. Don't overthink. I pieced it together through tears. She's from our university, sent you campus videos. Was it during your 2019 Wuhan trip? You used to video call me every business trip except that one. You stayed with her all night. My throat tightened. Just catching up? Is she, Amber? David didn't deny it. Time stopped. I suddenly remembered our first day together. My traumatic upbringing made me believe I'd never love or be loved until David. On October 15, 2014, he confessed, I'll put your name in my family registry someday. His warmth enveloped me. He was always there. Relentlessly kind. No one had ever treated me so tenderly. His unconditional love dismantled my walls. Over years, our souls aligned, shared values. Rare arguments. Even my marriage-averse self dreamed of weddings. As long as it was him. Yet he chose someone else at the peak of my devotion. Our entire history became a cruel joke. Sobs racked my body as I slid against the wall. Drained of tears. She pursued you first. But you rejected her. We got together. Yet you still crave her? Why must you both torment me? David insisted, we only chatted. It's not what you think. Chatted? I laughed through tears. Video calls during showers? Measuring waistlines with your thighs? I shattered completely, felt like a Shakespearean heroine before the final act. My worldview collapsed. Why am I inferior to Amber? How could I lose to Amber? I racked my brain but couldn't figure it out. If someone better than me had stolen David, I could have called him a jerk. That wouldn't have shattered me like this. But it's Amber. The same Amber I've always looked down on. Always despised. Always found disgusting. I know exactly what she looks like, not just plain, but truly unattractive. The fact that David cheated with her of all people completely destroyed my confidence. I cried until I felt numb. Truly. David had never seen me like this before. He was visibly shaken. He kept apologizing, probably thinking he could have hidden this forever. I didn't respond like I usually would. All I could see was Amber's smug face. She's not just ugly. She's malicious. She used to taunt me, telling me to train David well so she wouldn't have to re-educate him when they got together. Back then I laughed it off, thinking she was delusional. Yet here we are, she's transformed from that annoying pest into some seductive kitten in David's eyes. The irony burns. What do I do now? David and I have been together since I was 19. We've weathered 6 years together and we're supposed to get married next year. Our love runs deep. This isn't about falling out of love. Amber knew we were rock solid. How could she have zero basic human decency? Why her? My temples throbbed as I stared blankly at the white ceiling, exhausted beyond words. David didn't dare leave. He kept holding my hand, repeating empty apologies, swearing to cut all ties with Amber. I told him to get out, yet couldn't bear him leaving completely. Throughout our relationship, I've always maintained boundaries. Everyone knew I was taken. Why couldn't he do the same? I'm torturing myself like some madwoman, drowning in exhaustion. Why did you rescue me from darkness just to shove me into deeper despair? David? He's been hovering constantly, terrified I might do something drastic. I feel physically ill, sleepless nights. This gaping hole in my chest aching relentlessly. My suffering seems to guilt trip him. His endless I'm sorries mean nothing now. I don't want forgiveness. I want him to suffer too. Do you like Amber? This time he answered honestly, I don't know. Those words shattered me all over again. How can you not know? I sobbed into the blankets, my heart plunging. His uncertainty proves he's already emotionally involved. You used to hate her. I did. You're disgusting. I'm sorry. I'm sick of hearing those worthless words. I told David to get out. We both needed time to cool off. After drifting through several foggy days, Ryan suddenly showed up in Nanjing. Being David's close friend, he knew where we lived. When I opened the door, his shocked expression mirrored my state. Sophie, did your place get ransacked? What happened here? Where the hell is David? He's not answering my texts. I slumped on the couch massaging my temples. Why are you in Nanjing? Mainly to check on you guys. And attend the alumni reunion. Since when do reunions happen here? Amber's doing. Said we should celebrate surviving the pandemic. Since nobody wanted to go to Wuhan, she suggested Nanjing instead. That makes no sense. Her family's in Wuhan. She's clearly here for David. As I spilled everything about Amber's interference, Ryan's anger flared. David would never do this. And Amber, that witch just won't stay buried. Thank God you're not married yet. Sophie, cut both those toxic parasites out of your life. Don't. No. I did nothing wrong. Why should I hide? I can't just let this go. Ryan grew impatient. You want to fight Amber? She's shameless. Remember when she barged into our dorm late at night with cookies for David? When he told her to leave, she started doing our laundry and cleaning like some manic pixie dream girl. Called every guy big brother until we all tolerated her. At dorm parties, she'd bring cookies for everyone so David couldn't refuse hers. She's the type to yank unripe fruit off the vine just to see if it's sour. His stories turned my stomach. Why would a wealthy girl like her chase unavailable men? It's pathological. And David, what did he do to encourage this obsession? Ryan hesitated. Don't you think David looks like Young? That face doomed him. My heart spasmed. So I should suffer because he's handsome? I gave him my youth. My everything. You're not like Amber. You can't stoop to her level. Fairness died when she decided to break what she couldn't have. Should I surrender because I'm less vicious? Never. After Ryan left, I mentally drafted future conversations with David. Then a Wuhan number flashed on my phone, probably Amber. Sophie. The voice purred. How are things with David? The blatant provocation made me unable to contain my rage. Instantly, I wanted to smash my phone. Don't you see everything clearly while hiding in the shadows? How could you even ask if we're doing well? Hearing my furious voice, light laughter came through the phone. You should come to the alumni gathering too. I'll send you the address. Amber Wilson had become a thorn piercing my heart. Unless removed, this torment would haunt me forever. I'd thought she came to Nanjing for David Harper, never imagining she'd targeted me instead. Before the event, I deliberately dressed in all black. Emily joked I looked like attending a funeral. I arrived radiating hostility, every inch proclaiming don't mess with me. Ryan and Emily got dragged away by classmates for drinks immediately. David never showed. The moment I entered the private room, I spotted Amber lounging on the sofa. Her form-fitting burgundy V-neck knit dress showcased curves that could stop traffic. Waist-length raven hair cascaded in voluptuous waves. A single golden vintage earring glinted where strands carelessly tucked behind her left ear. The entire composition radiated vivid allure. Amber had been bent over her phone, face hidden. At my entrance, she lifted her head with deliberate slowness. Her features remained largely unchanged, clearer skin perhaps. Those old acne scars vanished, yet still objectively plain. Before I could savor this observation, she smiled and swayed toward me with hypnotic hip movements, each step oozing sensuality. Reluctantly, I acknowledged she'd transformed herself remarkably during our years apart. Suddenly I remembered that weekend when David watched me cooking. Sophie, he'd said oddly, you should take dance lessons. You carry too much domestic mundanity. I hadn't understood then. Seeing Amber now illuminated his meaning. She embodied ripe, effortless sexuality, a peach at perfect juiciness. Our styles couldn't be more opposed. My comfy casual wear invited no pressure. Yet months of emotional erosion had left me diminished. Shadows under my eyes. Our roles had reversed. She'd become the college version of me. I the awkward girl she used to be. Needing composure, I turned to fetch water. Not staying to chat. Her sudden grip on my handbag startled me. Did she think I'd flee? Why would I? Shoving her away violently, I demanded, are you truly this shameless? Must you steal others' boyfriends? She examined her manicure with contempt. If you can't keep your man, why blame me? If not me, someone else. At least I'm doing you the courtesy of honesty. Old friend. You're the one chasing what isn't yours. David doesn't want you. Have you no decency? I towered over her, shouting, twirling a lock of hair. Her gaze swept me mockingly. Before you discovered us, David and I chatted daily. After your tantrum, he stopped. By that logic, aren't you the homewrecker? My vision whited out with rage. I cursed not having that water to throw. Seizing advantage, she continued, Sophie, just bow out. Now that I've tasted David's affection, I won't release him. Let's be clear, I wasn't born pretty like you princesses who get everything handed over. If life made me a leaf, I'll paint myself the flower. Steal the spotlight. Take what I want. David Harper will be mine. Frankly, I've never feared you. As she released my bag, her perfume hit me low of 001 after hours. David had bought me the same, complaining about my cooking smells. I'd even posted it online. Staring wide-eyed, every hair stood erect. Amber Wilson had been stalking my every move. It turns out she'd been secretly stalking me all these years. And I had no idea. Amber is terrifying. Her obsession with David has turned into a fixation. She's determined to steal him away. This instantly ignited my competitive streak. There's no way I'm backing down. Why should I be the one to step aside for them? Just because David's tainted, I should hand him over to Amber? Absolutely not. If I'm miserable, they'll both suffer too. I fired a question at Amber. How many years have you been seducing David? Has he ever said he likes you? Before she could respond, I kept provoking her. Look at how vile you've become. If he really wanted you, why hasn't he broken up with me? Amber's brow furrowed, her eyes shifting with growing venom as she glared at me. I expected her to snap, but instead she covered her mouth and laughed. Years ago, I said it, feelings change. People in relationships become single again. Lovers fall out of love. I'm willing to wait for him, to give everything unconditionally. David will eventually break up with you. Then I'll be waiting, I retorted. The alumni gathering ended bitterly with Amber leaving first. I knew she'd immediately go cling to David, pushing him to dump me. I hated Amber. I hated David. We weren't even married yet. I never should have moved in with him. While other couples were still enjoying their romantic phases, we'd already settled into a routine like an old married couple. David started taking me for granted once he thought I was permanently his. My fatal flaw is always self-sacrificing. When we first lived together, neither of us could cook and we couldn't afford takeout. I taught myself meal by meal. Later, when we had more money, David said he'd gotten used to my cooking and wanted me to make his meals forever. I spent all my free time maintaining our little nest, constantly revolving around David, trying to make his life comfortable. And what did it get me? My lover's heart belongs to someone else. The desire for revenge consumed me. What goes around comes around. Let's see how this plays out. After the gathering, I moved into Emily's place. A week later, David called wanting to talk. From his hesitant tone, I knew he wanted to break up. I told him to come over. We sat facing each other, staring in heavy silence until he finally sighed. Sophie, he said, we've only lived together 4 years, but it feels like we've already exhausted everything. Sometimes being with you suffocates me. You control what clothes I wear, even my underwear colors. You make me wait to flush the toilet until you're done too. You've become stingy. Hoarding money, what's the point of saving every holiday? You can't take it with you when you die. I come home exhausted from work and you demand I share every detail, like you'd understand any of it. Then you drag me to watch movies at night. Sophie, you don't have to revolve your world around me. This is exhausting. When did I become nothing but flaws in his eyes? How pathetic. Tears streamed down my face as I struggled to breathe. You called me stingy and petty. But remember when we were broke interns sharing one meal? David, I'm traumatized by poverty. I might not understand your corporate jargon, but when your performance bonus got withheld last quarter, didn't I stay up helping you analyze the issue until you resolved it with your boss? That movie date you resented, wasn't that part of your own 999 film marriage promise from college? We've watched 987. We were so close. I kept every promise you made. You forgot them all. Time eroded your affection. Now I'm just inconvenient baggage. The truth is simple, you fell out of love. Everything I do became wrong. David stood speechless. The fog lifted, I finally understood everything. Heat flushed through my numb face as my composure shattered. By the end, I was screaming. You treated me like a fool. My messages went unanswered because you were sexting on your second account. During the lockdown, your panic wasn't about the pandemic, it was about Amber being trapped there. Those goofy smiles at your phone, was she sending nudes? Pushing me to take dance classes? Because Amber's moves turned you on? How vile. What am I to you? Every ugly truth lay exposed now. Growing up in dysfunction, I never learned healthy love. I thought kindness begot kindness. But my 6 years with David taught me cruelty. Everyone says I did nothing wrong. Then why do I want to die? I was wrong to think my parents brought me into this world to be trampled. How could I be this stupid? Emily rushed into the living room with tissues. Furious but helpless. She wheeled on David. What cosmic debt did Sophie owe your family? You Harpers are torturing her. Amber's been harassing Sophie daily since the alumni mixer, demanding she dump you. When I urged her to leave, she asked why would perfect David want someone else? Emily, haven't I been good enough? What did I do wrong? Sophie's only mistake was choosing you. David, you deserve to rot. Get out! David stared at my trembling form, jaw clenched. Sophie. His voice cracked. How did we get here? I love you. Maybe moving in together too soon. Still making excuses. My perspective shifted violently. I knew this man. That line meant he assumed I'd never leave. He expected me to fold at his first apology. As he basked in false control, I shattered his delusion. We're done. I once thought reclaiming David would destroy Amber. Her interference gutted me. I wanted her to feel this agony. But would she? Would winning him matter to someone without conscience? A habitual thief keeps stealing. Chasing this battle would ruin me. I need to retaliate in a harsher way. I wiped away all my tears. Just leave. I don't want to see you. David hadn't anticipated this at all. His brows furrowed. Face ashen. Lips trembling. So confident. He thought I'd never leave him. Believed he had me trapped. You're breaking up with me? Yes. My expression remained detached. Like a bystander. My demeanor left him utterly disoriented, wanting to touch me yet fearing rejection. His hands reached out. Withdrew. Hovering in repeated uncertainty. He edged closer until kneeling before me. Voice soft as always. Sophie. I came today not to end things. I've never considered leaving you. My inscrutable gaze locked onto his without response. How ironic. When I cherished him, he took me for granted. Now that I'm pushing him away, he clings desperately. Sophie. I was wrong. Come home with me? He suddenly embraced me. Face buried against my shoulder, his first tears in my presence. Emily launched into furious accusations, declaring I'd never return. She spat that he should rot with Amber instead of ruining others. Yet amid Emily's tirade, I followed David home. God knows how badly I wanted to strangle him. 3 fleeting months made the Amber incident feel like ancient history. Rather than driving us apart, we became clingier than ever. Perhaps David truly regretted everything now, overcompensating with relentless affection. I reciprocated tenfold, fulfilling his every whim, obeying without question, never again pressuring him against his will. I even assured him, let's bury the past. Love me properly from now on, and I'll keep loving you as always. My magnanimity only deepened his guilt. He transferred all his savings to me, a transparent bid for reassurance. Yet seismic shifts were transforming our dynamic. My escalating work hours drew constant complaints. Does your company even respect human rights? Endless overtime. Sophie. Just quit, I'll provide for you. Playfully pinching his waist. I explained, our finance manager's resigning. If I excel now, that promotion's mine. David sulked through prolonged kisses before leaving. That weekend, he rose unusually early, bleary-eyed. I found him bustling in the kitchen, an elaborate feast prepared. You can cook? I gaped. When did I claim otherwise? Raised my siblings since childhood. Mastered this decades ago. Rage surged from toes to crown, 3 cohabiting years where I'd handled everything. What's wrong? I unclenched hidden fists. Nothing. Smiling, I nuzzled into his chest. Morning cuddles already? Get out, grease and smoke aren't healthy. He knew about kitchen hazards now. My gaze lingered on the chef's knife, mentally skimming penal codes for 0.3 seconds. Reluctantly, I exited. Mid-makeup, Emily called for shopping. As I slipped on shoes, David stood frozen with my favorite king crab, staring. Where? Phone gesture. Silent disappointment. Wait, I'm coming soon. I spent the entire day wandering around downtown with Emily, eating, drinking, and goofing off. By the time I got home, it was already 10 p.m. David was sprawled on the couch. You're back? Yeah. I glanced at the dining table and feigned surprise. Did you not eat? You slaved over that meal all morning. He remained silent, motioning for me to join him. I sat down beside him, forcing an overly cheerful smile. The heavy scent of cigarettes clung to David as he reached for me. I instinctively recoiled. You should really use cologne. He froze. Are you still upset about Amber? My eyes instantly welled up with performative tears. Why can't you let that go? Do you still have feelings for her? He massaged his temples wearily. I've moved on. Sophie. Really? I swear I have. Can't we just focus on our future? The betrayed one wasn't you. Of course you can move on. I'll never forget. But I'd never say that aloud. My mission was to destroy him psychologically. David. Let's promise to never fight again. I murmured, nestling into his arms. Deal. He kissed the corner of my mouth tenderly. As I massaged his temples with alternating pressure, he sighed contentedly. This push-pull dynamic only deepened David's dependency. Pathetic. My home hours dwindled as our finance manager resigned, leaving me scrambling to fill the vacancy. During rare free moments, I'd send David sweet messages. You're so good to me. Sophie. He'd gush. You haven't seen anything yet. After months of relentless work, I finally secured the promotion. That's when David suggested, why not quit and join my startup? I'll give you 50% shares. His fledgling internet company barely survived the tech bubble. I hesitated. This promotion took years to earn. You've changed, he said pitifully. Truth was, my glow-up terrified him. Daily glam transformations. Career hustle. New social circle including our CEO's son. The 20-year-old Nepo baby had sculpted features and bedroom eyes that could make astronomers forget constellations. His constant big sis chirping grated until last week. When he drove me home, David witnessed the sports car door chivalry. My fiancé's jaw tightened seeing the Adonis beside me. Now David demands location updates hourly and insists I work at his company. Trust me. I soothed during his meltdowns. I'll never leave you. The manipulation works beautifully. Winter 2020. I quit my job and declined the shares. David's tears of gratitude almost made me laugh. Sophie. I'd give you anything. You already have. I thought. Watching the puppet master strings tighten. He also said meeting Sophie was the luckiest thing that ever happened to him. I smiled radiantly, nestled in his arms, playfully scratching his chin. Is this when you love me the most? No. He replied. I'll love you even more in the future. To prove his devotion, David bought me a fully paid apartment under my name before our wedding. He said this was when he loved me most. That he wanted to marry me. But Amber never gave up. David became her obsession. She kept coming to Nanjing. This time stubbornly camping in our home, clinging to David's leg like a lost puppy. She pleaded, if you won't break up with Sophie, I'll compromise. Can't we three be together? Tears streamed down my face as I confronted her. Why do you keep chasing David? We've been together 7 years. Don't you know we're about to get married? Amber went berserk, smashing our belongings. I dare you to marry him. David's mine. She collapsed, screaming. I knew you first. In school you looked at me with disgust. I thought it was my weight I starved myself thin. Then my skin tone I stayed indoors until pale. Drank bitter herbs until my period stopped for clear skin. What more must I do? I'd do anything for you. David kept his eyes shut. Chest heaving. Leave. I'm getting married. When hysterics failed, Amber switched tactics. I'll behave. She purred, embracing him. Just look at me. Exhaustion etched David's face. Perhaps he'd been charmed by her past allure. But this deranged woman repelled him. Kneeling disgracefully, Amber clutched his legs. I stalked Sophie's every social media. When her posts showed you, I cried. When they didn't, I hoped you'd split. Just when I nearly gave up, you came to Wuhan. You bit my bait. Called me fascinating. Praised my dancing. You started this. She stood shakily, smashing a vase against me. David shielded me. Take your anger on me. Not Sophie. He dragged her outside. Their fragmented arguments drifted upstairs as I calmly reviewed hidden camera footage installed after his affair. Now proving invaluable. David's fintech startup had recently secured major funding. The online financial industry was high risk but offered even greater profits. And David always bet big. But the good times wouldn't last. The 2021 CCTV 315 gala would expose his business partners, threatening to destroy everything he'd built. He had to liquidate the company immediately. I told him to flee abroad and hide. All documents that could incriminate him were destroyed in his presence. David trusted me completely, entrusting me with the cleanup. Before leaving, he kissed me tearfully in the frigid early spring air of Nanjing, his lips cold against mine. Sophie, I promise to treat you right forever. I failed before, but never again. Wait for me. When I return, we'll marry. Okay. I choked out, clutching him tightly as I sniffled. I'll wait. 2 hours later, David arrived at the airport. He was detained on the spot. I'd tipped off the authorities. Every backup file had been handed to the police. To ensure maximum sentencing, I'd included his company's fraudulent tax records. I reported his tax evasion too. This day had been years in the making. My refusal to accept company shares years ago? Insurance against this exact moment. At the police station a week later, David looked haggard, sunken eyes, cracked lips, stubble covering his once immaculate jaw. Comfortable? I asked. He erupted into violent rage at the sound of my voice, slamming against the bars until guards dragged me out. The man who'd shared my bed for years couldn't fathom being destroyed by his own Sophie. Why you? He kept rasping. I simply returned your favors. I answered. His trembling jaw turned away. Outside, sunlight warmed my smiling face. Back home, I packed to leave this love-haunted apartment. Beneath David's socks, I found a hidden engagement ring. It slid perfectly onto my ring finger. Curling on our bed, phantom pains racked my body. No tears fell, though my eyes burned staring at the ceiling. I'd destroyed David when he loved me most. The next day, I flew to Wuhan, begging Amber, you're the only one who can save David now. Your family's connections. She yanked my hair back, slapping me hard enough to split my lip. You vile bitch. He adored you. Wiping blood, I pleaded, save him and I'll vanish forever. He'll hate me. Cherish only you. Her hurried exit told me she'd take the bait. A month later, Ryan delivered news, David's free. Amber fixed it. Let each other go. Sophie. I slept 16 hours straight. When Emily reported David and Amber's upcoming wedding days later, I smiled. 3 days before their vows, I published my magnum opus online when the 7-year-itch meets the wildcat. Using the money David Harper gave me, I hired influencers to leak my personal essay and Amber Wilson's hysterical videos to gossip platforms the night before David and Amber's wedding. That same evening, I posted teaser excerpts myself. I even invited drama-hungry live streamers to crash the ceremony discreetly, ensuring maximum chaos without detection. The next morning, I sat anonymously among guests as Amber pledged forever to David under projected romantic montages. Right on cue, my hired accounts flooded social media with our 7-year love story. Hashtags like hashtag 7-year-itch, hashtag homewrecker Amber, and hashtag David Harper scandal trended instantly. While netizens raged about infidelity, the oblivious couple kept exchanging vows. Their radiant smiles sickened me. When the officiant asked Amber's consent, I stood shouting "No." The crowd gasped as I addressed David. We never broke up. He whispered, "Sophie, I'll never repay what I owe you." Forgive you? I laughed bitterly, exposing self-harm scars. You chose her during our 7-year itch. Why should the wronged party show mercy? The audience murmured pityingly, unaware this was my orchestrated downfall. Police arrived as Amber shrieked curses, exactly when I tipped them off after fabricating David's arrest. What did I do to deserve this? She spat while being handcuffed. Enjoy figuring that out in jail. I smiled through tears of vindication. Later, Emily found me walking rain-drenched streets. Did you love him? She asked. I'll always love 19-year-old David, I answered. Just as he'll forever miss 19-year-old Sophie. Plane tree shadows stretched endlessly before us. Witnesses to love's beautiful, brutal undoing.